Do you remember when we were in Utah? Do you remember when I told you that we would be coming back? Today, we are going to wake people up and show the world that this place that we all live is not at all what we have all been told. Are you ready? Here we go. Here we have the melted structure that we covered, where there are arches, bridges, and the rest. Very clear melting all over the place. So as we zoom out here, we are going to see a massive head. Of course, in my opinion, a dragon. Right here, you can very clearly see its jaw with all of its teeth. Zooming out even more, you can see the size of this thing with its wings and everything. And once you see this, you will never unsee it ever again while looking at the map of the USA. Today, we are going to be showing a lot of places that when looking at a map again, this world will never look the same. We are going to show that this place that we live, it's so much more interesting than what we've been told. When we zoom back in on the head, where you can see its molars very clearly here, where the jawline continues, and you of course have the incisors, exactly like we see in all animals today. This is a jawline, 100%, where we zoom in even more, and you can see for yourself what this location is now called. Black Dragon Canyon. Could it get any clearer? First, I want to show you these locations' names. We have the Moab with petrified dunes. Of course we do. Then we have more arches that we are told are naturally occurring. And we've shown this in episode 79, where they just say it randomly happened from some wind blowing the sand because they say it was a hot, dry climate for 150 million years. It's complete nonsense. Delicate arch, looking incredible. We are also given the catacomb rocks, which I would love to know what is underneath or inside of that location, where at this point, I think I can take a guess. We've seen a ton of things on catacombs. We have a few more arches, and then you zoom out, and you see the size of this thing. It is massive, with this hole right here in this location, where in my opinion, this is where it was killed, where it now creates a mountain range, and a location that I personally will never be able to unsee, showing us that there is still so much more to learn about where we are, and things that have been hiding right in front of our faces for so long, until now. When we zoom in on this location, you are going to see it just has scales all over it. Perfect 90-degree angles, over and over and over. Where we are told from back in episode 79, this kind of stuff just happened back in the Triassic ages, from 200 million years ago. We had the wind just blowing the right way back then. No. And this dragon, of course, has the name Black Dragon Canyon right in the mouth, and a highway, Route 70, in our advanced civilization, just cruising right through its head for years. And nobody said anything. Nobody knew. Where we know what a tooth looks like, we don't need somebody to tell us. And those are massive teeth, 100%, with mystery arch off to the right. And we also know that there are 12 Chinese zodiac signs. We have the rat, the ox, the tiger, the rabbit, the dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, and pig. We have 11 things that are very real, and we all know this. And then we have the dragon. And I'm just gonna ask the question, why would there be 11 real animals? And then there is one that is a myth. Or are all 12 very real? It's an interesting time to expose this, because we are, of course, right in the middle of the year of the dragon. And we're just getting started today. Welcome to episode 83 of my lunch break. I hope you're all having a great day. And if you're new, welcome. And I want to thank all of our sponsors over on Patreon. Thank you to FlatEarthDave.com. You can check out his app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac app. I'll put the link right in the description. And you can use my referral code, MLB. If you click the Tartaria button, you'll see the My Lunch Break playlist right here. The app is awesome. Thank you to Rebecca K, Don Gaston, Christopher Arietta, The Lady Lacey Show, David and Sherry Ferguson, Edwin Johnson, Chuck Templeton, Joy Lee, Stephanie Nolan, The Burlesons, Suez KC, Dan Woodall, Dale, DJ Clicktrack, Edward and Brianna, Jacob Law, Jim Ribley and Christine Duggan, Kyle Glascock, PKTFnews.org, Regna Saturna, Dendries NL, Juana Mesher, Sirius Feline, G Power, Natalie Shippenoff, Amberson EMC, HK Sue, Isaac Wright, Melissa Edgar, Biggles, Clayton Lamar, Ultimus Maximus, Noble Task Homestead, John Adams, Easy and Whitney, Robert Zolins, to Crypto Schizo, Rick Tapkey, Schnicka McKissick, Jesse DeLeon, Blake, Billy Prater, Magnus, Paraplegic Coffee, The Phoenix Art, Jetski Chuck, The Arnolds, 3D6 Dot Space, Attila Power, VKH Bonner, Rod James, Bell's Clarions for God, Forbidding Gecko Love, Justin Grobner Grubb, Leah Strong, Peter Battani, Dakota Dunn, Eric Martinez, Ivan Apoctoli, Jim Bro, Edwin Rice, Helmut, Charles Kruger, Glenn Gunderson, Pacific Crafted, HaggardT-shirts.com, Meta, Jason Hochberg, Marie C, ValleyMedicinals.com, Old World Exploration, Kyle Logan, Alina and Chris the IT Guy, Ron Mower, Devlin McGregor Pharmaceuticals, David and Irene, Michael Dingyu, Michelle Wilson, Patriot Armory, Tom O'Hara, Wayne T, Michael D. Connor, William Royal, C3SCOB, Ancient Tallow, Jeffrey Temple, Lil Miss, SonyaDane.com, Thad Luop, James Alt, Bucksui, Big Pasty, Jason Prest, TheGoldenTeacher.co, Papa One, Suki Warrior, We the People, Migs, Atomic Tech, Joey K, Codrenth, Frizz Tickle, Mousy Mouse Cheese Records, The Sovereign, Debreus, Charlie, Kimberly Bruce, Natasha C, K Moore, Dan McGee, Vince Moreno, Roz Matthews, Shiba Shaba in the Darkness. You guys are all awesome and helping this channel out a lot. Now, we've all known about dragons. We've seen them in the movies or on TV shows. We've heard of them in books and the rest. We also have a copy of a dictionary where you look up the word dragon and it says that they are now very rare. A huge serpent, a fabulous animal, now rare. It's very interesting. Where we have also heard of Leviathan, a sea dragon with limbs, fire-breathing abilities, and impenetrable scales. Now this is mentioned multiple times in the Bible, where God left only one alive, so that it couldn't destroy the rest of creation. And the word dragon occurs 21 times in the Old Testament. This is all before the word dinosaur was ever invented. Nobody was saying there were dinosaurs until 1842, when Sir Richard Owen just made it up. The exact time period that we've all been talking about on this channel throughout the first 83 episodes, where he just made up the name. And then a few years later, they find one for the first time. And regardless of scripture, regardless of signs from China, where we can all take that research and keep it if we'd like, we can also see for ourselves. We can see what is still here, which we are going to continue to do today. We also know that the griffin, the symbol of Tartaria, shown on their flags, is not a dragon, but they are very similar, where we know that if one was here, who knows what else was here, where we all live today. How big were things in the past? The significance of this is massive. It would mean that the land layout that we are all shown, this little ball, is way too small for a creature this size. So how much more land is there? There's no way that this massive creature could be flying around in our little cage that we're all shown, which is kind of what we are all dealing with right now, in my opinion. A little cage in a little season. And we all know that if I'm bringing up the possibility of dragons, then I'm not just gonna show you one. We aren't even close to done. So let's go find another one. And go to Northern Africa, where the head, the mouth, is right next to Morocco. You can see the head right here, with its mouth open. Exactly like we saw in Utah, with its wings right here, going to its body. Personally, I will never be able to look at Utah or Morocco the same ever again. So I've taken all the borders out and all the names off the map so we can just look at this thing. Imagine this flying around and how big things used to be. So we have this one in Utah, where its head alone is 66.65 miles in length and about 182 miles in length overall. And this one in Africa is even bigger, with its head alone being 308 miles in length. The head by itself is nearly double the size of the entire body of the one in Utah, where I have to be honest, I feel like this episode may be the most incredible video to this point. Finding massive dragons within our land layout, which would show the land that we've all been living on for all of our lives, has massive dragons embedded into it. Dragons that have been here all along, and we just couldn't see them until we finally opened our minds and were finally able to think for ourselves, finally able to process information without simply dismissing it, because we were never told about it by our teachers. Our Channel 4 just hasn't mentioned it yet. And if they haven't mentioned it, it could never be true. This thought process is done. We are moving on. It's time to realize what's going on and where we all are and what we're all doing here. This proves to me that there are other things that are here in this place that we all live that are definitely going to be revealed to us the further that we go. Because once you can see and have an open mind and have thousands of us and one day millions all working together, we are going to find it all. Just like we are today, just like we're about to do right now. Did you think that was the only two dragons? No. I saved the best for last. But first, let's take a minute and thank all of our badge members, all of our Patreons, and every single subscriber, and everybody who likes the videos, where we all know that I'm just sharing my research. You are always allowed to think whatever you'd like. If you think this is all a coincidence, you are 100% free to do that. If you think that these are dragons or snakes, you definitely can. I am not and never will tell anybody what to think. This, at the end of the day, is my research, and I am just sharing whatever I find with you all in the best way that I know how, putting it all into the world from my perspective, and just letting the world see what I see. Now that that's been said, let's keep going. Let's go much further than before, where finding things like what we have found today, in my opinion, solidify that there was something insane going on here that is so much different than just cowboys and Indians, cavemen, and people riding around on horses and wagons. For thousands of years, the narrative that we are all told from day one is controlled. And we know this. It's not the full truth. In fact, it is very far from it. It is a narrative that keeps your mind inside of a box and does not allow you to see things outside of it, where something massive has happened here, where we all live today. And we are just getting started on this channel. So are you ready? Here we go. We have shown two dragons today that are not going to wake up. They are laying on our land and are definitely no longer alive. Where this one that I'm about to show is a massive dragon, in my opinion, that may still be alive. Where we now know that this place that we all live today is much more in depth than what we have been told. Where we know that the history that we've all been told is complete nonsense all over the world. Where we also know that alligators have the capability to enter a state of dormancy called brumation during the winters to survive cold environments, becoming dormant below 55 degrees, keeping their nose out of the water just to breathe. Again, the dragon is the only one that is not real. Now, is this true? Why would one not be real? Are you 100% sure that it's not real? Are you 100% sure it's not still here today in a dormant state? Still here in our oceans, still here, and possibly going to wake up if the temperature reaches above 55 degrees. A massive dragon, in my opinion, without a doubt, a massive head, with its nose out of the water, exactly like we see with the alligators, where it looks like we have 16 degrees to work with. So let's zoom in on this thing's head and see exactly what's going on at its nose, where we are told that we have islands, places that we cannot drop the guy down and see what's going on. Islands with the name Vindication Island, where they're coloring around it and not hiding anything at all. Give me a break. What is going on at this so-called Bristol Island? They clearly got their crayons out and colored in around this creature's nose. We are not able to see where it's still breathing and are just told that these are islands that you, of course, cannot put the guy down on. Now again, a dragon, a snake, whatever it is, a creature of this size, where its head alone is over 1,100 miles long. This creature would never fit on a tiny ball, like we are all told, where this is proving, in my opinion, that there is a lot more land. Whether you believe that we are on a ball or not, whether you think that this place is flat or not, the ball or the plane that we have all been shown would have to be much larger. The map that we are shown is simply not the full map. It would have to extend much further out. This is clearly a head. There is zero doubt about it. And it's been here all along, our entire lives. And we've never seen it before, until now. Because we're asking questions, with its head coming out of the water to breathe, exactly like the alligator does. And it makes perfect sense, since this is the location where there is nothing. Just a mass amount of water and zero land. And this is the reason that there are so many bases and stations set up right here next to it. Researching this dragon. Is this the true reason for the Antarctic Treaty? Where if we go to polarconnection.org, we will see where figure 2 says the Antarctic with the area south of 60 degrees south latitude, indicated in red. This is the location that we cannot go. You can't just rent a boat and go down there, where you can see there is another boundary, the CCAMLR boundary, which literally lines up perfectly with this dragon's head. The head is in the middle of these two circles. In fact, they even end the CCAMLR boundary line right after this dragon's head. So how much clearer could this get? This is unbelievable. And you can even see that right next to this head, it looks like this might be an arm and a hand. These are now locations, places on our map that I'm guessing we will never be able to look at again the same. And they open so many doors for us. Where did these dragons come from? Is there more land? Are there more dragons on our land layout that we just haven't found yet? Are there more dragons out there past the 60th degree parallel? What other species are still out there waiting to be discovered? How many dragons were there? There are so many questions. But today, I feel like we have proved factual information, proving that massive dragons existed and possibly still do, with bases and stations circling around it, with it being blocked off from all of us. And not just one, but multiple dragons right here on our map, where these dragons would never be able to live on such a small map, proving that our true map has to be much bigger and possibly has other creatures living in outer space, where we live in the inner space, where it seems that we should all hope that the temperature in this location, just below South America, stays below 55 degrees, or else something massive may just be waking up from its sleep. And when we continue to look, we will continue to find massive dragons all over this place that we all live, just like we find covering half of the United States of America, where we all might have to start looking at Florida a little different from now on. Is that just random dirt, or are millions of people living right on top of what used to be a dragon, and that piece of land is actually a foot?